What's up, everybody, and welcome to episode 2 of the Harambe's Bauble podcast, a Magic the Gathering podcast. I'm DC, and I'm here with my good buddy Will. What's up, Will?
What's going on, DC?
Oh, just typical dad stuff. Yeah, tired from work and all that. You know how it goes.
Just living the dream, huh?
You know it, brother. I think we had some pretty good success from our first episode. I had some feedback, and I definitely found a lot of things I wanted to work on personally. But yeah, I think it was a good first episode. I thought we flowed really well, so we're gonna keep this one a little more like we want to, which is the 20 to 30 minute range, and yeah, go from there.
Sounds good to me.
All right. Well, what do you want to start off with? We have a few list of topics for tonight. Which one do you want to start with?
Well, we talked a little bit last week about, wanting each episode to kind of have some segment that just sort of exhibited our personality in play
Sure.
a little bit. And so do we want to maybe start off with that one? Just talk about, could be like an infinite combo or just a combo that you've used to win, just something that kind of illustrates Dustin Caudle as a Magic player.
Yeah, sure. I'll start with that. I was thinking about this a little bit, and my favorite way to win is with Brea, just because I like how smooth it is. It's a 3-card combo. It's with Brea, Ashnod's Altar, and Nim Deathmantle. So if you don't know what those do and how the combo works, Brea has 4 abilities. She has pay 2, sacrifice 2 artifacts, choose 1. Brea deals 3 combat damage to a player or planeswalker. Target creature gets -4/-4 until end of turn, or you gain 5 life. So with Nim Deathmantle, the way it works, you attach Nim Deathmantle, or you just have it on the battlefield. And then Ashnod's Altar lets you sacrifice a creature and you add 2 mana. So the way the infinite combo works is you have Nim Deathmantle, Ashnod's Altar, and Brea on the battlefield, right? You sacrifice one of your Thopters that Brea has. Nim Deathmantle says, as such, equipped creature gets +2/+2, has Intimidate, and is a black zombie. Whenever a non-token creature is put into your graveyard from the battlefield, you may pay 4. If you do, return the card to the battlefield and attach Nim Deathmantle to it. Equip 4. So basically what you do is you attach to Brea, you sacrifice Brea as one of the artifacts because she hits the battlefield. You return it to the battlefield. Whenever she does so, she brings out 2 Thopters because it's an ETB. You sacrifice her and one of the Thopters to pay the 4 mana. You just keep getting an extra Thopter every turn until you get infinite Thopters. And you can sack as many as you want to pay the mana because of Ashnod's Altar. Pay 2, so you sacrifice one of them. It counts for the 2 mana. You can do her ability as many times as you want, so you just ping everyone for 3 damage. a million times. And that's my favorite way to win, just because it is such a smooth combo. It's one I can tutor for, but it's a little harder to get rather than, say, Thassa's Oracle and Demonic Conscription, which I've won with several times. That's the easiest way to win, but this is definitely my favorite way to win.
And it's like very guarded too, where especially like if you have enough artifacts, like if someone's like, well, in response, I'll try to blast Nim Deathmantle or something, you can just in response start the loop all over again, and they just can't do anything about it.
Yeah, it's pretty great because it's all instant speed, so.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's a crazy combo.
What
I
about
know
you?
definitely there's some people in our pod who probably are not super crazy when you get to play that, but
yeah, that's why I don't play Brea often.
It's a solid one though. I was thinking about this for a while, and I've got a few infinite combos, and maybe if we have this be something that's more recurring, I might talk about that. But I think I just wanted to give a non-infinite combo that was just like a really explosive play that admittedly was total luck the first time that it ever happened, but it kind of ties in with what we were talking a little bit last week about how Magic's like this 4D chess with this luck component where sometimes the chips just kind of fall into place and you just kind of get fortunate. So just briefly set the scene. I was playing 1v1 against my friend. He was playing his Atraxa deck. I was playing with my Chatterfang Squirrel General deck.
Mm-hmm.
And it was not looking good for your boy. He was whooping me pretty good. I managed to get rid of Atraxa, but he had swung out at me, and I'm down below 10 life. He's still at 35.
Yeesh.
So it's kind of one of those situations where, like, if I don't get a board wipe, it's probably going to be over. And at that time, my board state, I had Chatterfang Squirrel General, so 3/3 Forest Walk. If one or more tokens would be created under your control, those tokens plus that many 1/1 green squirrel creature tokens are created instead. Can pay a black, sack X squirrels. Target creature gets plus X minus X till end of turn. So I had Chatterfang. I had a 1/1 green squirrel. I had Academy Manufacturer, so a 1/3.
Nice.
If you would create a clue, food, or treasure token, instead create one of each. And I had Mirkwood Bats, 2/3 flying. Whenever you create or sacrifice a token, each opponent loses a life. So I had some like ingredients that with Chatterfang could be pretty spicy, but for the life of me, I just couldn't get a token generator to like hang around long enough to like really start taking advantage of it. And so I'm kind of like backs against the wall, and just had one of those heart of the cards moments where I drew Old Gnawbone.
Woo.
And this was right when I first got Old Gnawbone. So I'm like in real time putting together like a potential combo as I draw it. I see he's got a couple of mana open, so I'm like, he could just Swords to Plowshare or something, but you know what? I'm going to lose next turn anyway. Let's just see what happens. So I play Old Gnawbone, no response. Cool. All right, I'm going to go to combat. No response. I'm like, all right, we're looking okay. I swing out at him with Chatterfang the Squirrel, Academy Manufacturer, Mirkwood Bats. So it's 7 damage.
Right.
And I can understand now, like from his perspective, how, especially because he had never seen Old Gnawbone before out in this deck. And so it's like, all right, I've got 35 life. Sure, I'll take 7. That's fine. But so he takes 7 damage. Old Gnawbone triggers. I go to make 7 treasure tokens. So Old Gnawbone, in case you don't know, 7/7 flyer. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, create that many treasure tokens. So that goes into effect. And then I have Chatterfang and Academy Manufacturer trying to have their replacement effects go.
Yep.
I layer it with Academy Manufacturer and then Chatterfang. So I make 7 treasures, 7 foods, 7 clues, 21 squirrels, and that's a total of 42 Mirkwood Bat triggers. So I hit him for 7 life, drain him for 42 with Mirkwood Bats, and it was game over. And it was just like that level of just explosiveness is what I love. I love having a board state where when it's the start of my turn, it's very unsupposing, but then just very quickly can just devolve into madness.
Yeah.
And yeah, that combo. I've gotten it to pull off a couple of times since, but that time was the first time, and it was just pure luck that it all happened. And I don't know, it was just beautiful.
Academy Manufacturer's got to be one of my favorite commander cards. It's just so versatile. It can fit in so many decks. There's so many reasons to run it, and it's colorless, so you can put it wherever you want, really. Man, fun. That's awesome. On the flip side of that, you talk about being explosive. I do like playing that way too, and you've seen it because I love to play Ishin, and that's all about being explosive. And my favorite way I've won with Ishin was just with Mjolnir, where I just kept stunning people's stuff and dealing them damage multiple times a turn. And I'll throw Mjolnir up on the screen for people that are watching so you know what it does. But essentially it applies stun counters and deals damage to each opponent for however many tap creatures that they have. So
yeah, that's one of those cards that when you see that come out, it's like, okay, in case of emergency, break glass. Like we need to figure out something because we're going down soon.
The crazy part about it is the ETB. You can attach it to a creature you control.
Yeah.
So it's just the turn it comes out. It's just like, wow, I could win this turn, and I love that. Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely your play style. You're being explosive, and for me, it's like we talked about in the last pod, where I like to not worry about what other players are doing anymore when I play. I like to worry about how I can win, and me talking about that 3-card combo with Brea is exactly what I'm talking about, where all I need to do is worry about getting my pieces out, and I don't care what anyone else does as long as they don't touch them.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. And it's such a fun way to play because I feel like, and we've talked a little bit about this before too, where I feel like there's an extra layer of a challenge with making like a casual commander deck where, like, yeah, you want to make a deck that's going to win, but you also want to have a deck where people are going to be okay losing to it. Where
Right.
like if you lose, they're going to be like, all right, let's shuffle up, let's go again, instead of something that just like deflates them to the point of like, ugh, I just want to go home. So when you're like having that strategy of just focusing more on you,
Yeah.
at least me personally, I found that people tend to like be more receptive to that, where it's like, okay, I had moments where I popped off too. It was just they did it slightly better,
Yeah.
and let's shuffle up and we'll try again.
Yeah, I've seen people be actually more salty about Ishin than they are about me winning with Brea, which is just kind of funny because Brea is such a better deck, but just the way Ishin wins, they're just like, man, you just took everyone out in one turn. That's annoying. When it's essentially the same thing, but you know.
Yeah.
So we talked, we're talking about spoilers a bit last show, and Edge of Eternities is in full on release mode or pre-release mode right now. We've seen some cards floating around in the wild, people getting some hands on product. So, now that I guess the spoiler period is officially over, what card are you really excited for from that set, or just anything that's been spoiled coming up? Because some of the Avatar stuff's been spoiled, some of the Spider-Man stuff's been spoiled. Or what's a card that you don't have that's come out recently that you would really like to have?
So I think from the Edges of Eternity set, I think we had shared this in our Discord yesterday. The Sothera, the Super Void, which is basically just like a grave pack on crack.
It
Like
really is.
that's gonna be insane. And honestly, the artwork also is just beautiful. But I think of all the ones that I've seen. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, read the card for the listeners.
Okay, yeah. So it's 2 generic, 2 black, legendary enchantment. Whenever a creature you control dies, each opponent chooses a creature they control and exiles it. At the beginning of your end step, if a player controls no creatures, sacrifice Sothera, then put a creature card exiled with it onto the battlefield under your control with 2 additional +1/+1 counters on it.
Crazy.
Insane.
Yeah.
Like, absolutely insane. Grave Pact was gnarly enough, but this is like that next level of not only am I going to make you get rid of your stuff, but if you get rid of this, then I might just take that thing that I got rid of for you. So it's that's going to be.
It's like I said in the Discord yesterday. It makes me want to play mono black real bad.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you better believe Chatterfang's definitely going to have that. There's some squirrels that are going to be paying the ultimate price so that we can get this to go off.
I'm trying to think of a deck I can put that in, and maybe Food and Friends. I don't know.
Honestly, even with Brea, because you do get a lot of like Thopters that you sack every now and then, that could be just an additional element of things for people to look out for.
Could be pretty gnarly, yeah.
But honestly, dude, I think the card that I'm most excited for is that Super State from the Sonic Secret Lair drop that's coming. That card is nuts. So 7 mana, legendary enchantment aura, enchant creature you control, has base power and toughness 9/9, has flying, first strike, trample, and haste. Whenever it deals combat damage to an opponent, it deals that much damage to each other opponent. And I think you can probably guess maybe what deck I want to throw that in.
Tifa.
Miss Tifa is fiending for this card right now.
And I bet you can guess what deck I want to put it in for my cards too, for my decks. Can you guess?
You want to just give it to me instead?
Well, I don't have a copy, but if I did, it would go in Ishin because that would be gross.
Ishin for sure. Yeah. Yeah. Being able to just deal damage to each other opponent. I mean, I know at least with Tifa, I think that's probably the one drawback that I have with that deck right now is if I'm playing in a group of 4 or more, which I hate playing in more than 4, but sometimes that's just how it works. We might play with 5 or 6.
Right.
But, she usually wins by one-shotting people. And when you're playing in a group of like 4, you can do that once, and then everyone's going to start looking at you like, we got to kill this dude right now. Yeah. So if I can have a way where it's like, hey, guys, it's okay, because not only are they going to die, but you're all going to die, that might. I mean, it's probably not going to go over better, but maybe a little bit better than if I was just one by one knocking people out.
I think the salt's still going to be high regardless.
Yeah, that's true. What
I'm
about
cool
you,
with
man? What
it,
are some
but
cards that?
I actually have a couple. So I have a couple current ones that I really would love to get my hands on from the Final Fantasy set. Buster Sword for Ishin. Even though it's not an attack trigger, just being able to draw a card and play a spell for free because I'm gonna get through with damage with Ishin regardless, right? That's just too good for 3 mana and 2 to equip. Plus, I've got so much stuff in that deck that allows me to equip stuff for free. It's like that's like a must-have for Ishin. So for people who don't know what
And what's like?
Buster Sword is, equipped creature gets +3/+2, which is kind of pretty cool in and of itself. Whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. Then you may cast a spell from your hand with the mana value less than or equal to the damage without paying its mana cost. Equip cost is 2.
Yeah, that's crazy.
3 mana to cast. Colorless. And then on top of
And
that... Sorry, go ahead.
What's your, like, in your Ishin deck, what's like the highest CMC cost of a spell that you have?
I think it's 7 Conda.
7 or 8.
Yeah, it's Lord Conda, the one that's indestructible.
So you can get to 7 with Buster Sword pretty easily,
Just
where it's
play
like no
anything
matter
for
what I
free.
draw,
Yeah.
I'm gonna be able to. Yeah, that's insane.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then Lightning Army of One, which is a little less expensive, definitely fits really well in Ishin. First Strike, Trample, Lifelink, great on its own with all the equipment I've got going on her. Stagger, whenever lightning deals combat damage to a player until your next turn, if a source will deal damage to that player or a permanent that player controls, it deals double that damage instead. So you've seen this card in other people's decks, but just giving someone incentive to attack a player that I just attacked, pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
High salt factor, but it gives them, a little less reason to attack you and more of a reason to take out that player. And for 3 mana.
And for 3 mana, that's insane.
3/2, it's Boros colors. It's 1 colorless, 1 red, 1 white. So those 2 cards, just have to drop a cool like $75 to get both, but mostly because Buster Sword's so expensive, being $50+. But then for the card that I am really looking forward to, we talked about that Lobster Citizen. Obviously, I'm stoked for that. But the card that just got one of the last cards that got spoiled, and we posted in the Discord, is that In Spirit Flagship Vessel. I think this card is the card that people are going to play as their commander. Whenever we're allowed to play vessels, spaceships, spacecrafts, whatever they want to call them, / vehicles as commanders, I think this is the card. So it's Jeskai colors. It's blue, red, and white. I think that's Jeskai, right? Am I right about that?
Sure.
Okay.
We'll go with the,
we used to just call it America. It was blue, red, white. It has a station ability, so tap another creature you control, put a charge counter equal to its power on this spacecraft. Station only as a sorcery. It's an artifact creature at 8+. So easy to get this thing stationed. So 1+. Even with a 1+, it gets ability. At the beginning of your combat on your turn, put your choice of a 1/1 counter or 2 charge counters on up to one other target artifact. So that's good in and of itself, just having a 1+ station. But then once you get to 8+, it's a 5/5 when it comes to creature, which is insane for a 3 mana card in and of itself with flying. Other artifacts you control have hexproof and indestructible. So you throw a Swiftfoot Boots on this thing or a Lightning Greaves, and sans a board wipe, which you're probably going to have counters for anyway since you're playing blue, your board is just invulnerable. And you can just kind of lock down and just do what you want. This card is bonkers. This will be a highly, highly sought after commander card. I will put good money on that, not just for as a commander, but to throw in any Jeskai deck, because these abilities are busted.
Yeah. And honestly, up until maybe a couple of days ago, I had been sleeping on that warp ability just
Shoo.
because it sounded so odd of, you cast it, it comes in, and then you exile it at the beginning of your end step. You can cast it from exile later on. But the crazy thing is, like, in a card like the In Spirit flagship vessel, like I don't remember the exact name of it, but there's some like something Titan card where it's like a 9/9 or something like that for I think 7 mana or 8 mana, but it has a warp ability. So you pay the 3, you get it on the battlefield, you tap it to put
Station.
charge counters on one of your spacecrafts, and then who cares if you can cast it again later? You've already gotten the value out of it that you need. And
Absolutely.
so I think, yeah, cards with warp, I was definitely sleeping on that for a while, but I think if you're doing the spacecraft route, it's going to be really insane.
I think warp's just powerful anyway, especially if you're playing limited. That's like all those cards people are going to want to play in draft, because anything you can play again later on is always super powerful and limited. And I think honestly pretty powerful in standard. If you look at the history of standard, all those like buyback cards and spectacle cost and all that, or not spectacle stuff, it deals damage, but you get what I'm saying, like all the buyback stuff, all the stuff you can play later on, those almost always get played if they're good enough abilities. And there's a lot of good warp abilities in this set.
We definitely have to do a draft on this one.
Yeah, got to. I mean, honestly, I wish we could have done Final Fantasy. It's just too expensive, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe one day.
Yeah. Once it goes down and bottoms out.
If it does, yeah.
Yeah, it will. I mean, maybe not. Probably not. I mean, some of the prices are crashing just because people are opening so much product that it's, the market's going down a bit. It's nothing. Usually when things are kept as sealed, that's when the value goes up. But people are just cracking so much packs. I've seen cards on my mana box drop like $30 in a week. Yeah. But yeah, I think it'll go back up later on once it goes out of full print for sure. So hold on to all your Final Fantasy cards, because there's so many good ones and they're going to be worth a lot later on. Especially because
And the art cards.
Yeah. I got that signed art card the other day, and it's like $4 card. It's like, whoa.
Yeah. I've never known a set to have an art card that could be, something like a meaningful value. So yeah, definitely want to hold on to those too, especially the signed ones.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see, especially because, rotation the way it is now, it's yearly. So Final Fantasy is going to be in standard for a year. So people are going to be wanting them once they go out of print, because they're still going to be in standard for so long. So, Will, what's one thing that you've seen in Magic that you just don't love? It just drives you crazy. Like, could be a deck archetype, could be a rule, alternate win con. What really grinds your gears when it comes to Magic?
I've been trying to think of like a very diplomatic way to phrase this because I don't want to upset people who might play this way. But I would say most of the time I don't really get worked up by how other people play, because a lot of my decks are kind of structured very similar to what we were talking about before, where I'm more focused on just me trying to do what I'm doing. But one of the reasons why I've avoided playing Izzet for as long as I have is because I loathe Storm with like just a vengeance in me that can't be described. And I feel the same way like that I do about red and blue, that I do about blue and green. And it's probably just very biased with like my experiences playing against decks like that. But if you're taking 5 to 10 to 15 minutes for your turn, I don't know who needs to hear this, but people are not having fun playing with you. Like, if everyone else is going, all right, I'll draw, I'll play a land, I'll pass, and then you're there for 5 minutes going through your library, just trying to figure out, oh, what can I do? Like, no one wants to sit there and watch you fumble around, throw together some half strategy, that's not really going to do anything. And you compare your board state, life totals at the beginning of your turn and the end of your turn. And it's like, yeah, you had a bajillion triggers, but nothing happened. Like, that's probably the only real thing where it's just like, all right, man, like, just finish a game. Like, that's all I ask of people. Just finish. If you're going to go off and do some crazy thing, that's fine. But if it's going to be every turn of making people sit there, that's when it starts to drain me.
Yeah, I feel that. For me, this is tough because I'm one of those players where I just think most of the win conditions and stuff are valid, and I don't really get salty when people win. I just like to play to have fun. I like to win. I'm a competitive guy, but I'm not going to get mad if someone else wins. So this is tough for me, but I will say something that bothers me is whenever you're trying to help another player and you're like, hey, I'm trying to help you, and they still go against what you're doing and counter what you're trying to do, like that's like, okay, you're playing casual commander, you're trying to be diplomatic, that's part of it, right? And why are you gonna mess with my strategy when I'm actually trying to help you? So because it helps me, we can help each other, and they just want to be jerks and ruin my day. That bothers me. I also really don't like it whenever you're playing a long game and it's like hour 3 and someone board wipes and it just like resets the game. Like, just throw the spell away at that point. Don't even play it. Like, we've been doing this game for too long. Should be a rule after like hour 1 you can't play a board wipe.
Like, next time, just farewell me and let me go home.
Yeah. Exactly. So yeah, those are probably the only 2 pet peeves I have. I don't really. I mean, I guess like. So I used to play Commander before some of these rules were in place, and I haven't always been a fan of Commander damage, but we've seen the value of it in recent games, so I think it's going to be a mainstay for my house instead of it not being.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm with you where at first I was kind of hesitant, but especially when you're going against decks that are just gaining life like crazy,
Yeah.
it's nice to know that, like, especially if you got the right deck, that you just have to do 21 damage. So even if they've got 10,000 life, it doesn't matter because I just got to hit you 21.
Yeah.
21, 21.
21. And I do think, though, that poison should be increased from 10 to at least 15. I would argue make it the same as commander damage and make it 21.
Yeah, I'm on the fence with that because I get it. It's not fun to play against, at least not all the time, but maybe just my experience is playing with Atraxa against Atraxa so much where you just kind of get numb to it after a while. So I could see 15, but going up to 20 at that point, I just don't know if it would really be worth it because it might just take so long to get up to that unless your whole deck is just driven around poison proliferate. But if it's more just kind of like a casual toxic,
Yeah, if it's like Finn or whatever,
I don't
yeah,
know.
that would make sense. But I feel like most toxic decks, at least that I played against, have a ton of proliferate, and I feel like it's easy to get up there. I mean, I think at the bare minimum though, it should be 15. I think 10 is just like, that's too fast. That is way too fast. I mean, you could get there turn 3 easy if you draw the right cards.
Yeah. And maybe part of the problem then is like if they had more cards that could help get rid of poison counters, then 10 might be more acceptable.
But
Like if
there's
there was, I
only
mean, there's that.
Solemnity,
Yeah.
and that's really it.
Yeah, and there's one that I think it's called like leeches or something like that, where you can remove poison counters. You lose a life for each one that you remove, but it's only in white. So yeah, there's not a lot of options. Definitely not enough compared to how many cards have toxic or poison. So
Yeah, for
yeah,
sure.
I totally agree that it's hard. It's definitely it's like, in Dragon Ball Z when they go in the hyperbolic time chamber and they're just training up. That's what it feels like when you're playing an Traxa deck, I feel like, where it forces your deck to just move at a quicker pace because otherwise you're just going to get left behind.
Yeah, for sure. All right. And then last thing I want to talk about that is on our list here, I brought this one up for our show, and it's something I thought about because I saw recently where an exec from WotC came out and said that the Universes Beyond was going to be a regular thing, like an every other set thing. It's going to be the standard going forward. So since it's going to be a mainstay here, I don't really love that we're getting so many of them. I am an old school Magic player. I love all the old lore and everything like that. I kind of wish we would have kept it at just Magic and maybe every once in a while thrown in these Universes Beyond set, and I would have been fine with it. But every other set's kind of insane. But since it's here and I love the game, I'm going to have to deal with it. So, with it being a regular thing, what set would you love to see from Universes Beyond?
I would love to see a Game of Thrones crossover. I feel like since they did Lord of the Rings, to me as a fan of fantasy, that's enough justification to be able to have like a crossover for that. And I think it would give a good reason to reprint like a lot of dragons that didn't get reprinted in Tarkir Dragonstorm, like your Ancient Copper Dragon, Ancient Brass Dragon, like those could be like some Targaryen dragon reprints. Um, I also really want another heroic intervention, but I was thinking about this today, like what the design for the card could be. All right. And this is what I'm thinking: a 2 mana instant, uh, green black called Hold the Door. And at the time that you cast it, you have to sacrifice a creature, but permanents you control gain hexproof indestructible until end of turn. And it's just a full art of Hodor, just like blocking that door. I Even if that's the only card that's made, I want that card so bad.
That'd be sick. That's a good thought. I love that. For me, I think, the Spider-Man one's a big one for me already. But for one that they could create that I think I would spend even more money or as much money as I'm going to be with Spider-Man, it's Halo. If they did a Halo set, that would be so insane. And they could even, like, if it was later on down the road, like play into the Edge of Eternity's set a little more because it's space, right? So they could do that. I'm not sure how it really fits into fantasy, but Spider-Man really doesn't either. So, I guess there's fantasy elements to sci-fi in general anyway, but yeah.
That'd be a good one, though. I'm honestly surprised that they haven't. Like, that seems like a pretty duh kind of crossover to do.
I feel like they would just be printing money if they made a Halo set.
That would easily be the highest grossing set
By
to date.
far,
I feel like no question. Yeah. I mean, if they're gonna make a My Little Pony, you gotta make Halo at that point. Come on.
very least Secret Lair. The Secret Lair site would crash though if they did Halo. It would be insane, be nutty. But yeah, that's really the only one that comes to mind. I think Overwatch would be cool, but I think it's too narrow. That'd be more of a Secret Lair thing. Halo's so broad though; they could do so much with Halo.
Yeah, I agree. And I liked what you were saying about how they could incorporate elements like the station element. Like there could totally be so many cool cards with that in there.
Yep. And vehicles, they could do a Warthog. I mean, come on.
The sword,
Yeah.
deal damage to a player, you kill him or something. It's like some wonky.
Yeah. Easy. Yeah, so that's I think that's all for our show today. We talked about a lot of stuff. We kept it a little quicker this time. Anything else you want to end us off with?
No, I think we're good.
Thanks for tuning into Harambe's Bauble, Magic Gathering podcast. I wish you all well, and I hope you win all of your games. Bye.
Bye.